support, we couldn't make any progress here. Yeah, I mean, where you'll see the biggest outcry is from the Democrats who are, they don't want the waste and fraud to be turned off because it is a gigantic magnet to attract illegal immigrants and have them stay in the country. And I mean, you see some of the crazy stuff, like where money from FEMA, which is meant, FEMA is an agency that's meant to take care of Americans in distress. And a bunch of their money was being sent to pay for luxury hotels in New York for illegal immigrants. And that was happening even after the president was elected, even after he signed an executive order saying that needs to stop. So we actually made sure that that money did stop going, because obviously it's outrageous that American taxpayer money is spent on luxury hotels for illegals. But you have to say, like, why was that being done? It was because the Democrats are trying to import voters, basically.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah, and that's also why there's no voter ID needed. In fact, in California and New York State, you're not allowed to show voter ID.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that seem insane?
Insane.
Yeah.
I say that as a New Yorker. It's insane.
Yeah, insane.
And it violates the entire Constitution and the principles behind it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We're live. Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, because that's the most important thing you do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm. If you're new to the channel, or maybe you're one of those ghost watchers always watching my content but not subscribing, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button, so you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you are following me on Telegram. That is what I beg the most, right? Please follow me on Telegram to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. You will never miss a notification if you're following me on Telegram. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get the stream started. Let's get it started. I want to first start off with what Elon was talking about in the intro, because I know for some people, as it pertains to the migrant crisis being a means for Democrats to gain new voters, some people hear that and they just kind of poo-poo it. Oh, illegal immigrants, they can't vote. What are you talking about? Well, not so fast. As many of you know, across the country, in DNC states and cities across the country, like New York City, like Chicago, like Boston, and I believe, it's already law in Washington, D.C. And if I'm not mistaken, here in California, Los Angeles, it's already law as well. These cities and states have fought for non-citizen voting. And like I said, in Washington, D.C., non-citizens can vote in local elections. And if I'm not mistaken, here in Los Angeles and in California as a whole, non-citizens can vote in local elections too. They're trying to make that a reality in New York. They've been fighting it for quite some time now, and failing, but they're still fighting it. And like I said, this is also a fight that's been going on in Boston and quietly in Chicago as well, right? So once again, when people are talking about, oh, what is, illegal immigrants have to do with voting, that's not possible, it can't happen. Once again, not so fast. Non-citizen voting is literally what Democrats are fighting for in these liberal states and liberal cities, right? So I don't want to belabor that point too much. I can go off on a longer tangent about it, because I've spoken on that in length. But let's, just carry on with, what we really came here to speak about. And what you all really came here to talk about is Kamala Harris. Now, I like to play these videos if I do come across them. Every now and then, Kamala Harris just pops up for whatever the reason being. I don't know why she's still around. If I was her, I would just, retire. I'm sure she's made millions of dollars, just like all these DNC politicians do. I would have just retired already after such a embarrassing loss to Trump, and just, enjoyed my riches and enjoyed my life. But she's still out here talking for whatever reason she's talking. And when she does talk, it is fun to play some of these clips just so we get a reminder of what we dodged. We definitely dodged a bullet with Harris. And after listening to her speak for the next, I believe it's maybe a minute and 10 seconds, it'll just kind of help you, be a little bit more satisfied with your choice for Trump, right? In case you felt otherwise. So let's get into this right now.
So We did DoorDash because I wanted Doritos. And they were about, the red carpet part was about to start. Nobody wanted to leave to go to the grocery store. So it was DoorDash. And I'm thinking about this, so I was willing to give up whatever might be the tracking of Kamala Harris's particular fondness for nacho cheese Doritos for the sake of getting a big bag of Doritos as I watched the Oscars.
I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know what she's talking about. But this woman almost became president. This woman almost became president, right? But we definitely dodged a bullet with that one. We dodged a bullet with that one. So now let's get into like what we are actually here for, right? We're here to speak about Maxine Waters. We're here to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. We're here to talk about USAID, Elon Musk, and the millions of dollars in what I believe is fraud that Maxine Waters has engaged in over the years that she's been a congresswoman, right? So first, let's get some updates on what's happening with USAID, because USAID, that's what really kicked everything off as it pertains to these DNC lunatics being highly upset and on their campaign to end Musk and sully his name, as well as to continue on with the endless lies that Trump is trying to slash and get rid of Social Security and slash and get rid of Medicaid and Medicare, even though that isn't true. This is something that they have said time and time again they're not doing, but people like Maxine Waters keep saying that they are, right? Well, the good news is with USAID right now, is that 83% of their contracts have been canceled. 83%. So we're talking about billions and billions of dollars that has been saved. I want to play this right now before we carry on with the discussion. So let's get into this here.
With your Monday morning breaking news alerts just in from the Associated Press, we're learning Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying on this Monday the Trump administration had finished its 6-week purge of programs of the 6-decade-old U.S. Agency for International Development. He goes on to say that he would move the 18% of aid and development programs that survived under the State Department. Rubio made the announcement in a post on X, marking one of his relatively few public comments on what has been a historic shift away from U.S. foreign aid and development executed by Trump political appointees at State and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency terms. Rubio in the post thanked Doge, saying, quote, I actually want to share that with you on this Monday. Take a look at your screen. Rubio says, quote, after a 6-week review, we are officially canceling 83% of the programs at USAID. The 5,200 contracts that are now canceled spent tens of billions of dollars in ways that did not serve the core national interests of the U.S. In consultation with Congress, we intend for the remaining 18% of programs we are keeping to now be administered more effectively under the State Department. Thank you to Doge and our hardworking staff who worked very long hours to achieve this overdue and historic reform, end quote. Again, this coming from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Further perspective, we know that President Donald Trump back on January 20th issued an executive order directing a freeze of foreign assistance funding and a review of all of the tens of billions of dollars of U.S. aid and development work abroad. Trump charged that he would continue to do what was best for America during this time, saying that much of foreign assistance was wasteful and advanced a liberal agenda. We'll continue to keep a close eye on this breaking news right here on Live Now from Fox.
Now, what I want to do next before we get into Maxine Waters, because there's so many of these clips that exist, of Trump saying that he's not cutting Social Security, he's not cutting Medicaid, Medicare. But you have the Maxine Waters of the world, the Al Greens of the world, who's shaking his cane at Trump and screaming at him during his speech. The AOCs and Jasmine Crockett's and Elizabeth Warrens of the world, right? These DNC lunatics that keep saying something that isn't true and that isn't happening, right? It's important for me to play clips like this where you can see Trump saying that I'm not doing what they're saying that I'm doing, because when these things don't happen that they say is going to happen, it continues to make Democrats look like the fools that they are. Remember, Trump was supposed to be a dictator day one. Looks like that didn't happen. A lot of the things that they said was going to happen didn't happen. And this is another thing as well. So I'm going to play this, and then we're going to get into Maxine Waters next.
Have growth like you've never seen before.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you said that.
We're going to have growth. I'm not going to touch Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Now, we're going to get fraud out of there. You know, you see where I talk about it all the time. We have people 250 years old and all, you know, tremendous fraud. But that has nothing to do with that. We're going to get the fraud out, and everybody wants us to get the fraud out, and therefore you'll make it better. But we're going to have tremendous growth. When you look at all of the car companies that are now coming into the United States, and they've been announcing, like on a daily basis, they're going to build their plants and they're going to create tremendous numbers of jobs and so many other things. And I'm doing something else that I think is very exciting. Maybe I'm wrong.
So we'll stop it right there. But you heard the man. He's not getting rid of these things, right? But they keep saying this stuff over and over and over again. And now in comes Maxine Waters, because Maxine Waters has been one of the very vocal people, right, against the Doge cuts, as people like to say. She's been very vocal. And recently she did I guess you could say some sort of a Zoom town hall conference thing, you know, online with Tamika Mallory, Angela Rye, Jasmine Crockett, and a couple of other, you know, just DNC lunatics, as I like to call them. And as it pertains to lunacy, right, that's what we're getting ready to see here with Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters is just getting ready to spout a bunch of nonsense, but she's going to accuse, you know, or imply that Elon Musk essentially rigged the election in the favor of Donald Trump, which is crazy. But let's get into this clip here, right? So let's get into Maxine.
Over to him. And we don't.
Jesus. Let me take it from the top. All right. We'll take it from the top. Shout out to Maxine Waters. Let's get into it.
Turned it over to him. And we don't know everything that Elon Musk has done with his high technology ass. We don't know what he's been accused of by some as it may relate to the election. But we're not going to give up in investigating and finding.
We don't know what he's done with his high technology ass. I don't know what that means. And there's a lengthier version of this that I'm going to play right now. But I want to play. Can somebody please explain to me what is high technology ass? What is that? I don't know what she's talking about right now.
Turned it over to him. And we don't know everything that Elon Musk has done with his high technology ass. We don't.
This is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. I want to play well, first off, before I play the lengthier version of this, right? Before I play the lengthier version of this, I want to take a moment to address, you could say, the kind of accusation or kind of insinuation that she's making concerning Elon Musk stealing the election on behalf of Trump. I want to play this one more time. I see you guys are enjoying it in the comment section. So I'm going to play this one more time. And this is definitely Terry time worthy.
Turned it over to him. And we don't know everything that Elon Musk has done with his high technology ass. We don't know what he's been accused of by some as it may relate to the election. But we're not going to give up in investigating and finding.
Okay, so as far as we don't know what he's done with the election, all right, let's get into that very briefly. Okay, so I'm going to take this down and we'll pull this up. Well, there's a blank screen there, but okay, here we go. Right. So I don't know. I didn't know about this until Maxine Waters, you know, stated what she said, and I looked into it a little bit. I didn't know that, you know, one of the ways that Democrats were coping was by coming up with a conspiracy theory that Elon Musk apparently stole the election with Starlink, right? And he stole it for Donald Trump. Fact focus, and this is coming from, you know, Associated Press. This is a DNC outlet right here, and even the DNC outlet at the Associated Press said, "Come on, man, that's not what's going on. That didn't happen at all whatsoever." So it's nice to throw this back in Democrats' face, coming from the AP. Fact focus: Elon Musk election officials knock down Starlink vote rigging conspiracy theories. Yep, they have this conspiracy theory here, and it reads, as President-elect Donald Trump begins filling key posts in his second administration, social media users are pushing false claims that the 2024 election was rigged in his favor. One such narrative claims that billionaire Elon Musk facilitated the alleged fraud with his internet service provider Starlink, manipulating the vote count through election equipment such as ballot tabulators. Starlink, a subsidiary of Musk's SpaceX company, uses satellites to offer high-speed internet even in remote areas. Some rural countries use the technology during the 2024, some rural counties use the technology during the 2024 race to access their election poll books. Here's a closer look at the facts. Claim billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk used his internet provider Starlink to steal the 2024 election for President-elect Donald Trump. The facts. These claims are unfounded. Election officials, including from multiple swing states, told the Associated Press that their voting equipment does not use Starlink and is not even connected to the internet. States have additional security measures to ensure that the count is accurate. According to experts, election officials and security agencies have reported no significant issues with the 2024 race. I had no idea that this was a conspiracy that Democrats had came up with as to why Trump won the election. And this is what Maxine Waters is alluding to when she's talking about Elon Musk with his high technology ass, and we not knowing what he really did during the election, right? I was like, well, what's happening? What's she talking about? What did Elon Musk do during the election? What does she mean? Oh, this conspiracy theory here that he stole the election with Starlink, right? Okay, I got it, Maxine. I got it. So now I want to play a longer version of the same ridiculous video that we just watched because it's going to help us pivot into really exposing what I believe is a massive amount of fraud that's been going on with Maxine Waters over the years that she's been in Congress, right? So let me pull this video up. And if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. And as always, please make sure you are following me on Telegram. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. That is extremely important. You will never miss a notification if you do that. So let's get into this clip right here. The ramblings of, I was going to say Kamala Harris, the ramblings of Maxine Waters.
Yes, Elon Musk, because Elon Musk had.
Let me take it from the top. And apparently this was a screen grab somebody else got. It's from State of the People 24-hour marathon. Okay. Take it away, Maxine.
Yes, Elon Musk, because Elon Musk had the money to buy him. This was transactional. He put the money into his campaign, and Trump turned it over to him. And we don't know everything that Elon Musk has done with his high technology ass. We don't know what he's been accused of by some as it may relate to the election. But we're not going to give up in investigating and finding out whether or not Elon Musk and all the people that he's got hired in his business who are now working for him, we may be paying them through these dumb ass false contracts that he's gotten so much money from. This billionaire is a billionaire because he's exploited the United States of America, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you, Jasmine. You continue to be.
If you pay attention to how everyone's reacting to what she's saying, it does kind of just give like just the kind of crazy senile grandma vibes, like, you know, where you just pull her back into the house and say, oh okay, grandma, okay, I'm sorry, everybody, sorry, and you just bring her back into the house. But as it pertains to, you know, what she's saying here, I guess, you know, Elon Musk is taking advantage of the American people, you know, billionaires getting rich off the government, yada 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 yada, all the kind of stuff, right? If anybody needs to be investigated, It's Maxine Waters. Because in the midst of everything that's been going on with Doge, waste, fraud, and abuse, so on and so forth, this story that I covered way back in 2021 has resurfaced, and it's worth rehashing, right? Because as you can see here, way back when, let me pull this down. Look at what we have here. Maxine Waters has given over $1 million in campaign cash to her daughter. Look at what we have here. And her daughter isn't the only one in the family that she's been making rich. It's not just her daughter. So if anybody needs to be investigated, Maxine Waters definitely needs to be investigated. Let's jump into this article here. U.S. Representative Maxine Waters has cashed in more than $1 million for her daughter through her campaign since 2003, according to federal election data. Karen Waters received over $1.1 million for her services with her mother's campaigns, $250,000 of which came from the most recent election cycle, reported the Federal Election Commission. And mind you, they're talking about 2020, right? The daughter of the California Democrat organized slate mailing operation, the daughter of the California Democrat organized slate mailing operations to bolster her mother's re-election. Slate mailing is an uncommon practice in federal election where a consulting firm is hired to create a pamphlet of sorts that contains a list of candidates or policy measures and advises voters how to cast their ballots. Representative Waters was reportedly the only federal politician to use a slate mailer operation during the 2020 general election. Wonder why? She had to make sure to, pass $250K on to her daughter. Though the practice is not altogether that uncommon in the state of California, who has seen politicians like Gavin Newsom use the campaign method, Vice President Kamala Harris also used slate mailers during her 2017 Senate campaign. If you all remember, Kamala Harris, how much money did she blow? What is it? Her campaign blew close to $2 billion, right? And she went $20 million in debt. All right. But Waters' daughter isn't the only family member who has profited from her time in congressional campaigns. I repeat, but Waters' daughter isn't the only family member who has profited from her time in congressional campaigns. In 2004, a 2004 report by the Los Angeles Times found that various members of Waters' family have received over $1 million during the previous 8 years from businesses and campaigns relating to the Congresswoman to do their business. And they do their business and I do mine, Waters said during the time. We are not bad people. That's her excuse. Maxine Waters said, they do their business and I do mine. We are not bad people. I want to read that last paragraph off one more time before we move on to the next article, right? Once again, a 2004 report by the Los Angeles Times found that various members of Waters' family have received over $1 million during her previous 8 years from businesses and campaigns relating to the Congresswoman. Okay. Waters made over 30 payments to her daughter during the 2020 campaign cycle. The funds largely going to slate mailer management fees, whatever that is, management fees. Though canvassing and office expenses were also listed in the FEC records. There were another 2 payments directed at Karen Walker for GOTV services, though details of what was involved in the operation are not listed. It is possible GOTV could stand for Get Out the Vote. There are over 160 payments funneled to Karen Walker from her mother since 2003 that the FEC has recorded. And then, of course, not surprisingly, right, because this was concerning the 2020 election, 2 years later, surprise, surprise, Maxine Waters paid daughter $192,000 in campaign funds during the 2022 cycle, filings show. So she's taking care of her family. She's making sure her family members are filthy rich. And I'm going to read this off in closing. California Democrat Maxine Waters continued her long-standing practice of funneling campaign cash to her daughter to run a lucrative operation during the 2022 election cycle, which netted the younger Waters another 6 figures in payments. Karen Waters pocketed $192,300 from her mother's campaign to keep her slate mailer operation afloat between 2001 and 2002, a Fox News digital review of Federal Election Commission filings show. The setup involves outside campaigns paying Waters' campaign to appear on the slate mailers or endorsement mailers sent out to constituents in the Los Angeles area. The practice is highly unusual on the federal level, and Waters appears to be the only national politician using it to grab committee cash. I repeat, and Waters appears to be the only national politician using it to grab committee cash. Slate mailers, however, slate mailers, however, are commonplace in her home state of California, though critics say it involves deceptive practices over one campaign paying another for a politician backing in an election. This woman needs to be investigated. You see, as I've stated on so many occasions, I get when people tell me Democrats and Republicans, they're two sides of the same coin, TD. You're being deceived. You fell for the okie doke with Trump or whatever, because they're all the same. And, I won't argue with you against that. Like, I get the two sides of the same coin argument. But as I always say, and as I'll always, point this question out to you at the end of the day, two sides of the same coin, sure. But when it comes to getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, why is it that it's the Democrats that seem to be the only ones that have an issue with it? And you see the ones that are screaming the loudest appear to be the most corrupt, particularly right now in this case surrounding Maxine Waters, who, according to these filings, federal filings, it's not just her daughter that she's paid over $1 million to. Numerous family members she has paid over $1 million to. Meanwhile, she's over here screaming and yelling about Elon Musk with his high technology ass. Okay.
Over to him. And we don't know everything that Elon Musk has done with his high technology ass. We don't know what he's been accused of by some as it may relate to the election. But we're not going to give up in investigating and finding.
That does it for today's stream, everybody. Listen one more time for the road.
Turned it over to him. And we don't know everything that Elon Musk has done with his high technology ass.
The people that are screaming the loudest essentially keep proving themselves to literally be the most guilty. They are literally the most guilty with his high technology ass. Okay. Anyways, with all that being said, that's going to do it for today's stream. I told you guys I'm keeping it under 30 minutes, especially after yesterday's hour stream. So with all that being said, thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And please follow me on Telegram. That is extremely important that you do that. Telegram. The link to my Telegram's in the description box below. It'll be pinned in the live chat once the stream is over, and it should be pinned. It'll be pinned in the comment section once the stream is over, and it should be pinned in the live chat as well right now. Right, you'll never miss a notification if you're following me on Telegram. With all that being said, I'll catch you guys later. Peace and have a great afternoon. And I should have some more videos that I'm going to upload later on this afternoon. So I'll see you guys then. Peace.